You ever heard of Barbie movies? Of course you have, I made a whole video about it. I already talked about the movies in general terms, but I have specific opinions about each film and I wish to share them. So join me on this ranking list, because once again, I want to talk about Barbie movies. So I've decided to rank each movie according to that one letter system that everyone was using a while back. Also, I'm starting from the latest movie and going back in time to the classic ones, just because we all know I'm biased by nostalgia anyway, and I get to end the video on a positive note. As I'm recording this, the Lost Birthday movie has not been released yet, so just imagine I ranked it here with the rest. Yeah, let's just do that. I present each movie along with a short summary of the plot and an overview of my opinions, but my descriptions don't cover everything that happens, and even my comments are limited to whatever I felt was relevant or fun to mention. I'm not trying to give an in-depth analysis here, even because I've already done that in another video. Also, this is obviously just my opinion, and just because I like or dislike something, it doesn't invalidate how anyone else feels about it. This whole system is super arbitrary, and I'm just making this video for fun. I might criticize a movie and give it a high ranking just because I had fun watching it, or I might find nothing wrong with another movie and still give it a lower ranking just because I felt it was too bland. If you've already watched these films, tell me how close I got to your own rankings. If you haven't watched them, let me know which ones I have convinced you to watch. Without further ado, let's get started. Princess Adventure. It's Princess and a Pauper, but in modern times, and the Pauper is Barbie. She switches places with the princess, and the rest of the movie follows her adventures and mishaps trying to pass for royal. I wish we could have seen more of the princess's side of things as she tries to live as a commoner, but they never really focus on that. My favorite part of the movie are actually Barbie's friends. They all have these different personalities and designs, and it was such an unexpected variety for a Barbie movie. I hope they keep on following this trend. The story is nothing special, but the friends make up for it. I'm giving this one a C. Dolphin Magic. It's one of those Barbie movies that focus on Barbie as herself, living adventures with her sisters. There's the special kind of dolphin, and one of those was captured by an evil marine biologist, and now a mermaid is trying to save him. Also, Barbie is there, and she befriends the mermaid, and they try to rescue the dolphin. It's a pretty fun time, and it's definitely one of my favorites when it comes to the Barbie Sister cinematic universe. We've gotten stories where Barbie becomes a mermaid and has to learn to live in the water, but this time the mermaid can become human and marvels at life on land, and I like that. The stakes aren't super high or anything, but it's got a nice summer vibe. It's a B. Video Game Hero. Barbie enters a video game and explores different levels. It's Wreck-It Ralph, but worse. My biggest problem with this movie is that it's very annoying. I don't like the side characters, I don't care about their video game world, the games themselves look pretty generic, and the climax is just a giant ad for Just Dance. Also, they try to make coding sound interesting, or I guess get kids into it, but I don't think this is the best illustration of how coding works. The only thing saving this one from being on the absolute bottom is that the different game worlds have different aesthetics and animation styles, and they have to adapt Barbie's look for each of those, so I'll give them that. But I still can't place it higher than an E. Barbie and her sisters in a puppy chase. Barbie travels with her sisters, but they lose their puppies, so the girls have to get them back, and everything goes wrong. You know, when most people think of Barbie movies, I imagine this is what they have in mind when it comes to Barbie's character. She's vapid, overly positive, and offers you no substance whatsoever. That's Barbie in this movie. Her sisters are in a terrible situation, and she just keeps telling them to be optimistic and think on the bright side. It sucks because there's room for real emotion here. Like, maybe she can't bring herself to admit that things are bad because she's expected to be perfect and in control all the time. That would have made for a great character moment. But no, it's played like she's in the right and you can't complain about being lost on an island. F. Starlight Adventure. It's a sci-fi Barbie movie. A sci-fi Barbie movie. What else do I need to say? In this universe, the stars are dying, so the king comes up with a plan to get them to dance again, and Barbie is recruited to help. I love this movie. I love the setting, I love the aesthetic, I love the side characters, I love the little team that they make and how they grow closer, I love the premise, I love the plot, it's a really solid Barbie movie. Sci-fi Barbie is now my favorite movie genre. S. Barbie Spy Squad. Barbie and her friends become spies, and now they have to stop another spy from stealing stuff. It's a neat premise, but I feel like this one had some pacing issues. They spent a lot of time training to become spies, and you're just sort of waiting for the plot to get going, and then when it gets going, it's a little too predictable for me, even by Barbie movie standards. Watching them mess around with the spy gear is fun, so I'll give it a C. Barbie and her sisters in a great puppy adventure, not to be confused with a great puppy chase. Barbie and her sisters explored a small town where they grew up in search of lost treasure. Watching this movie feels like you're a kid going to your grandma's house on vacation and hunting for lost treasure with your friends. They did a really good job capturing both the laid-back vibe of summer and also the excitement and rush of going on summer adventures. I don't know, it felt familiar to me. It's a B. Barbie Rockin' Royals. It's Camp Rock too, but with more Barbie and less Nick Jonas. There's a camp for rock stars and a camp for princesses, but two of its members switch sides and there's a music battle. I gotta say, I had a really good time with this one. Both camps are equally fun to explore, the camp owners have like a bitter axis dynamic going on. I don't know why the Barbie universe decided that rock stars are the opposite of princesses, but I like it. I'm giving this one a B. Barbie in Princess Power. Barbie is a princess and also a superhero. I really don't get why they had to make her both. Isn't just being a superhero interesting enough? I don't know. I feel like the moral of this one got lost along the way. There's this whole thing about how Barbie is only doing the super stuff because then she will get the public to love her, but doesn't she get that already just from being a princess in a Barbie movie? She's got really overprotective parents, and other movies usually have like a tragic reason why those parents are so worried, but here it's just because, and it doesn't even affect the story all that much. Making Barbie a superhero is a good idea, but I feel like there's a better way to do it. C. Barbie and the Secret Door. Okay, full disclosure, as a young teen, I was really excited for the release of this movie just because it shared a name with my favorite Arctic Monkey song, but the movie obviously has nothing to do with that, and also isn't very good. Sorry. Barbie is a princess with really bad anxiety issues, and she finds a secret door that takes her to a land filled with fairies and mermaids and unicorns, and they gotta defeat this evil spoiled girl that wants to steal all the magic. The villain's annoying, the magic land has this weird clashing pink and green palette, and even though it has a fair amount of action, the stakes never felt truly high. It's a D for me. Barbie, the Pearl Princess. This is the only mermaid Barbie movie where it's 100% about mermaids. There are no humans involved, no part where a human has to become a mermaid or vice versa. It's just a fairy tale about mermaids, and it delivers exactly what it promises. Barbie is a mermaid who can control pearls? A weird power, but okay. And she goes to Mermaid City, and there's a mermaid ball, and there's a lost mermaid princess, and it's a fun mermaid time. A solid B. Barbie and her sisters in a ponytail. It's a Barbie horse girl movie. Have you ever watched the horse girl movie? Well, this is one of them. Barbie and her sisters go to this horse camp, and there's this super special wild horse species, and only Barbie has what it takes to tame them. For some reason, the Barbie brand as a whole is very horse heavy. This movie would be popular with horse girls. I give it a B. Also, the credits for this movie are illustrated with the storyboard sketches for a few of the sequences, and I don't know why I love that so much, but I do. Mariposa and the Fairy Princess. Barbie is a butterfly fairy and she has to represent her people while visiting the Crystal Fairy Kingdom. Each fairy species is prejudiced against the other, but they're both trying to unlearn their biases. At first, it looks like this will be your typical anti-prejudice movie, but then our protagonist and the princess get to know each other and the story really gets going. It's got action and intrigue and tragic backstories, and it's a really nice aesthetic. I give it an A. Barbie and the Pink Shoes. Barbie is a ballet dancer who gets some pink shoes that transport her to the land of her favorite ballets. And now she has to defeat the Ice Queen and dance her way out. I was a little disappointed that this movie is about going to a universe where apparently the world of every ballet exists at the same time, but we only see two of those worlds, them being Giselle and the Swan Lake, and we already have a whole movie about the latter. Still, this movie is actually pretty funny and it has a good supporting cast. It's a B. The Princess and the Pop Star. I'm convinced they made this one just because it kinda sounds like Princess and the Pauper. It's where the rock star versus princess dichotomy was established in the Barbieverse, but unlike Rock and Royals, this movie is not good. There's this princess and this pop star, and the two switch places as an excuse to escape their responsibilities, but it gets to a point where they can no longer do that, so they switch back. By the end of the movie, I'm not convinced that either of them learned anything from this experience. The climax of the movie isn't even about the switch, it's about this magic diamond plant that serves no other purpose in the story. Every character is spoiled and annoying. F. Barbie and a Mermaid Tale 2. Barbie is a professional surfer, but also a mermaid princess. The villain is trying to stop her from taking part in the royal ritual to save the ocean, and there's a surfer rival that gets caught up in the whole thing. I like this one. I love it that Barbie's rival is just a regular human that now has to deal with this whole mermaid royalty conspiracy. They have a nice dynamic. I'll give it a B. Barbie: A Perfect Christmas. This is the first of the Barbie sisters movies, and you can see they're still figuring things out. The girls have distinct personalities, but it's nowhere near the characterization that they're given in later films. Basically, the gang gets snowed in during Christmas and it ruins their holiday plans. So now they gotta deal with the situation while also finding joy in the simple things. It's harmless. I'm giving it a C. Princess Charm School. Barbie is a waitress that wins a raffle and is accepted into a princess training program at this super exclusive Royal Academy. This movie has a lot going for it. The idea of a princess school is super fun and easy to get into. There's like this rival student and they get into teenage drama. There's a whole mystery about a lost princess. It's a really solid Barbie premise and it totally delivers. It's an A for sure. A Fairy Secret. This movie is weird. Barbie is playing herself, as in the movie star, so we understand that this is real life, and the rest of the movies are fiction within this universe. Except, fairies are real, and they kidnap Barbie's boyfriend. Also, Barbie's assistants are fairies, and she had no idea of that. I don't know, I feel like if you're gonna act like Barbie is a real person, then you don't need to throw that much magic into the storyline. The later Barbie Sisters movies find a better balance with the whole reality versus magic thing. The only advantage of this movie is that it's pretty funny. It's a C. A Fashion Fairy Tale. This movie is also weird and also for the same reasons as the last one. Barbie is playing herself, but gets fired from her latest movie, so she goes to Paris to help her aunt run her fashion boutique. Also, fairies are there, and they put glitter on things. Ken has a subplot about traveling to see Barbie and things keep going wrong, and that's not very entertaining. It's a D for me. Barbie and the Mermaid Tale. Barbie is a professional surfer, but then finds out that she is a mermaid, so she travels to the bottom of the ocean to find out more about her origins and also save her mom. Finding out you're a long-lost mermaid princess is like a top 10 daydream. The plot's pretty typical, but it's a fun time. I'll give this movie a B. Barbie and the Three Musketeers. Barbie lives in old-timey France and wants to be a musketeer. She meets other girls who also want to be musketeers and they train in secret. There's a plan to kill the prince and they gotta stop it. This movie is pretty fun. It does have a bit of that preachy message, like girls can do anything they set their mind to, but the characters are interesting enough to make it work. I like their personalities, and I like how each one of them has like a different fighting style. I would trust them to protect my kingdom. It's an A. Barbie Thumbelina. This movie is interesting because it doesn't really star Barbie, it's just Thumbelina and a kid. Thumbelina lives in a park, but they're gonna build a mall there, so she needs to persuade the child of the mall owners to stop the construction. The message of this one is a little odd. It looks like it's going to be an environmental movie, but then halfway through the film it becomes more like social status isn't everything, and at the last moment it switches to parents should pay attention to their children. They're not bad messages, but it feels a little clunky. Plus, the animation does not look great. I give it an E. Barbie in A Christmas Carol. It's a Christmas Carol, but with Barbie in it. I did not see this one coming. This movie makes some choices that are necessary in order to adapt the Christmas Carol story, but that are different from anything else you would see in Barbie movies, so this ends up being one of the most distinct of the bunch. The main character isn't Barbie, she's just a mean and selfish girl who hates Christmas. She's British, the whole movie looks very grey and grounded. It promises you a Christmas Carol, it gives you a Christmas Carol, so honestly, I can't complain. I'll give it a B. Barbie and the Diamond Castle. Two gal pals live in the woods and they discover a magic mirror with a girl trapped inside, and she tells them of a diamond castle. Their house is destroyed, so they might as well go find it. This one annoyed me when I was younger because it's called Barbie and the Diamond Castle, but the Diamond Castle is barely in the movie, and then it just looks like a generic glitter castle, like I'm not reading diamond here. But the story of this one is pretty solid, and the relationship between the main girls is very sweet. I'm bumping it up to an A just because it's really cottagecore. And gay. Barbie Mariposa. Barbie is a butterfly fairy and the queen was poisoned, so now she has to save her. There are a lot of Barbie movies where the characters have to go on a journey to save the queen/kingdom, and they go to a bunch of different locations and they meet new characters, and this one's a good example of that. I will say, though, I don't like the designs of the monsters all that much, and Barbie works for these annoying, bratty fairies that you feel are going to be irrelevant once the story gets going, but instead, they are the ones who travel with the protagonist and not the protagonist's best friend. Like, I don't want to be around them. It's a C. Barbie as the Island Princess. Barbie grew up in a deserted island and she can talk to animals, and then she gets taken to civilization. This is a nice one. I like her animal sidekicks, though the makeup heavy design of this elephant is killing me. I like this other princess who is very romantic and soft-spoken. There's a whole mystery concerning Barbie's backstory, and that's also fun to follow. I'm giving it a B. Fairytopia Magic of the Rainbow. This is the third movie of the Fairytopia trilogy, and it's also my favorite one. Barbie is chosen to learn this magic ritual along with other apprentices. I love stories where characters go to a school for a special craft, like magic or princessing or whatever other Barbie school there is. Again, we've got a rival student, so there's some nice drama, the stakes are pretty high, it's a nice rainbow time. I'll give it a B. Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses. Do you like princesses? Here's 12 of them. I love them. Once upon a time, there was a kingdom with 12 wild princesses, and a king who hired a tutor to help educate them. But this tutor is evil and wants to take over the throne, so now the girls gotta stop her. To me, this is the ultimate Barbie movie. There's magic, romance, dancing, pretty dresses, and a really solid plot. It's well written, nothing feels out of place, all the characters are entertaining. It's an S for sure. I will defend this one to my grave. Barbie Diaries, this one looks weird. It's like they hid the line art layer. I know it makes no sense when we're talking about 3D animation, but that's the vibe. I can see every individual hair strand on Barbie's head, and I did not ask for any of that. Barbie is a high school student and lives through some high school drama. There's a snooty rival and a love interest and a best friend who's in love with her, and they have a band and there's a school dance, and as a kid this was my jam. But now I feel like there are better movies like this out there. I give it a C. Fairytopia Mermaidia. It's Fairytopia, but with mermaids. Out of all Fairytopia movies, this one feels the most inconsequential. The villains kidnap the mermaid prince and threaten to poison the ocean, and Barbie's like, we need to get more help. But the plot's like, no, there's no time. Just come alone and don't tell anyone else. And there was no reason why they couldn't get more help. Also, there's like 3 bad guys and they look pretty easy to take down. Anyway, it's a fun mermaid time. I give it a B. Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus. Barbie is a princess who loves to ice skate but has extremely overprotective parents. Turns out they are traumatized because they used to have another daughter that was turned into a Pegasus by an evil wizard. And wouldn't you know, he also comes for Barbie. Now Barbie and her horse sister have to save the kingdom. It's the ultimate horse girl movie because there is a girl who is a horse. The story's got a solid premise, but the movie is kinda dark. I mean, literally, the color palette is very muddy. It's nice atmosphere, I guess. I enjoyed the sisterly relationship and their crazy adventures. It's a fun horse time. I give it a B. Barbie Fairytopia. Barbie is a fairy with no wings who has to stop the villain from spreading a disease that makes people unable to fly. It's another Barbie movie where she needs to go on a quest through different locations, meeting different characters. But there's also the sense that she's kind of on her own. Other people join her party, but you really get the feeling of how dangerous this journey is. It's solid writing. I'll give it a solid B. Princess and the Pauper. Everyone says this is the best Barbie movie, and yeah, they're right. There's a princess named Annalise and a pauper named Erica who look identical, and once Annalise goes missing, Erica has to take her place in order to stop this evil guy from taking over the throne. I feel like this movie is so in tune with Barbie's message of self-expression. The main conflict is that each character has a passion they desperately want to pursue, but they are held back because of other responsibilities, and they take both sides of the issue into consideration. Also, they each use their passions to save the day, with Annalise studying the cave rocks and Erica singing herself to freedom. It's very Barbie-core. It's an S, no doubt about it. Swan Lake. It's the Swan Lake Ballet, but with Barbie. You know, girl gets turned into a swan, there's dancing, there's an imposter, there's magic. It's a movie with a lot of potential, but for me personally, it comes off as kinda dull. They spend a lot of time in this one forest location just talking exposition. The main couple meets like 2 times and they are immediately declared soulmates. There's better stuff out there, but it's still a pretty fun time. I'll go for B. Barbie as Rapunzel. Barbie is a princess who is stolen away as a baby and locked up in a tower, and her hair grows very long. That's all this movie has to do with the traditional Rapunzel fairy tale. The scene of the prince climbing her hair isn't even real, it's just a dream sequence. This is one of the most unique takes on the Rapunzel story out there, and it works. Rapunzel's characterization is very well established, her sidekicks have distinct personalities that complement each other, the plot has a nice pacing and it's well constructed too. Only Barbie could make it work, and I'm really glad they did. It's a well-deserved S. Barbie in the Nutcracker. It's the first Barbie movie. How can you not love it? Barbie is Clara from the Nutcracker Ballet. There's a Nutcracker, a Mouse King, there's dancing, There's a Lost Princess reveal. You can see that they're still figuring out the exact style and aesthetics of a Barbie movie, but that's a fantastic start. Also, I'm just gonna go out and say it, the Nutcracker sexy. He is a gentleman, alright? Look at him! The part where he cracks the ice so that the others could escape, fully planning to sacrifice himself, when Clara was able to see him behind the invisible barrier because she loved him so much. He was my second ever childhood crush, and I was right. Also, the Sugar Plum Princess dress is still my favorite Barbie movie outfit. It's an S, and I won't listen to criticism. And there you have it, my official Barbie movie ranking. I think if you're up for watching a Barbie movie, you already know what you're gonna get. Even with my personal nostalgic biases, I feel like there isn't a clear division between good Barbie movie eras and bad ones. There's recent stuff that I love just as much as the oldies, and there's old stuff that I'm not super sold on. It's a fun time! Obviously, this is all just my opinion, and I'm not the only fan out there. Do you agree with my rankings? Are my hot takes garbage? Do you want to fight me about any of them? Leave a comment. Let me know. I'll fight you. I won't fight you. I love Barbie movies, and I'm glad we've got so many of them to appreciate. Thank you for watching. Well, hello there, and thank you for watching this video. What's your thoughts on my Barbie rankings? Is there any film in particular that I have convinced you to watch? Let me know. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreons, whom I love very much. If you would like to join the gang, click the link in the description. You can also follow me on Twitter and share this video with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! In retrospect, I should have given the best rankings to Fairytopia. You know, 'cause Bibble is there.